talk about, the pinnacle of the sport, there's this expectation of sporting purity. Like, you just need two teams, a patch of grass, a ball, and a ticking clock.
Right, it's supposed to be simple.
Exactly. It's simple. It's universal.
Yeah.
But if you step into the New Jersey Stadium on July 19, 2026 for the World Cup final, suddenly that really simple picture gets incredibly complicated.
Oh, completely.
We're looking at this landscape where sporting purity just slammed headfirst into a massive, unprecedented commercial spectacle.
It was, the absolute definition of a paradigm shift for global football. Like, it was a moment where the foundational laws of the sport were actively bent, just to accommodate global entertainment.
Yeah, and today our mission for this deep dive is to unpack the thrilling and honestly somewhat surreal conclusion to that 2026 World Cup.
It really was surreal.
Right. We are diving deep into a historic tournament capped off by Spain's grueling extra-time victory over Argentina, plus the record-shattering individual performances, and of course, a halftime show that literally stopped the rules of the game in their tracks.
Literally stopped the clock.
Yep. And to do this, we're pulling from a robust stack of sources for you today. We've got the official FIFA match reports, global sports journalism from outlets like Al Jazeera, The Guardian, and Fox Sports, plus some really granular tactical breakdowns of how this final was actually won and lost.
And the contrast is really what makes this final so fascinating. We have a clash of absolute titans here. It's the reigning European champions, Spain, taking on the defending World Cup champions, Argentina.
Total heavyweight bout.
Exactly, culminating in a match that tested, the absolute limits of human endurance and tactical discipline.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because before we get into all the halftime chaos, we really have to start with the 120 minutes of actual football.
Yeah, the game itself.
Right, because for that entire duration, this was just a battle of sheer attrition, resulting in a final score of Spain 1, Argentina 0.
A total grind.
And what stands out about that 106th-minute breakthrough isn't just the finish itself, it's how methodically the buildup stretched the Argentine defense until a seam finally opened up.
Yeah, the geometry of that goal is just a perfect distillation of Spain's entire philosophy.
How so?
Well, Argentina was operating in a deeply entrenched low block, right? They were basically just trying to survive extra time. And then Pedro Porro receives the ball wide, which forces the Argentine defense to shift laterally just a fraction of a second too late.
Right, because you're exhausted.
Exactly. So he delivers this really precise cross to the far post. Nico Williams is there, but, rather than taking a low percentage shot, he nods it down into that prime central space.
Just a perfectly unselfish play.
Totally. And then substitute Ferran Torres arrives right into that pocket and just buries a first-time shot into the roof of the net past Emiliano Martinez.
Wow.
It was clinical, but it was born from 100 previous passes that just exhausted the defense's ability to track runners.
Yeah, and Martinez had been an absolute wall up to that point, making save after save. But, the underlying stat line from the official FIFA match report is what I think truly defines this game.
Oh, the shot statistic.
Yes, Argentina, the defending champions, a team featuring Lionel Messi, Julian Alvarez, Lautaro Martinez, they did not register a single shot for 115 minutes.
It's wild.
Not on target.
Yeah.
Not off target. Literally zero.
Yeah, a statistic like that in a World Cup final is just staggering. It speaks to the mechanics of Spain's control.
Right.
We often hear analysts say a team played keep away,
Right.
but Spain's possession is actually functionally defensive.
Defensive possession, yeah.
Right. They utilize what is known as positional play, or juego de posición. Basically, they arrange themselves in these really complex passing triangles that ensure the player with the ball always has 2 or 3 passing options.
Always an out.
Exactly. So when Argentina did manage to intercept a pass, Spain was already structurally positioned to surround the ball carrier and win it back within seconds.
Right, the counter press.
Yeah, they don't just hold the ball to score, They hold the ball to prevent the opponent from even participating in the game.
Which is so frustrating. I was watching this tactical suffocation unfold, and it felt less like a football match and more like a metronome that dictates not just the beat of the music, but literally the heart rate of the opposition.
That's a great way to put it.
It's like watching a boa constrictor. Spain forces you to sprint while they jog. It's this weird aerobic manipulation.
Oh, absolutely.
But I do wonder, how much of that 115-minute shot drought was Spain's tactical brilliance, and how much was Argentina simply being completely out of gas?
That's the big question.
Because Argentina had that incredibly emotional, physically draining 2-1 comeback win against England in the semis just days prior. And their players are known as street fighters, who thrive in physical scraps, right? But you can't scrap when you're just chasing shadows.
Yeah, that physical and emotional toll was undeniably a major variable. I mean, when a team is forced into constant lateral shifting to track the ball for that long, the cognitive fatigue is just as severe as the muscular
You
fatigue.
just stop thinking clearly.
Exactly. You start making poor decisions. And that exhaustion really peaked in second half stoppage time when Enzo Fernandez received his second yellow card.
Oh, that was huge.
Right. He was late to a challenge purely because his legs were heavy and he was sent off.
Leaving Argentina to face the entirety of extra time with 10 men. I mean, that is a recipe for collapse against literally any team, let alone one that hoards possession like Spain.
It's basically a death sentence in extra time.
Yeah. And compounding that physical reality were the age dynamics on the pitch. The spectrum of footballing generations colliding in this single match was striking.
What's fascinating here is the sheer extremity of the demographics. I mean, you have Lionel Messi, who became the oldest outfield player to ever appear in a World Cup final at 39 years and 25 days old.
Which broke a record from 1958, right?
Exactly. And shortly after, Nicolas Otamendi came on as a sub for Argentina at 38.
And then you look across the halfway line, and Spain is fielding two 19-year-olds.
It's crazy.
Like Lamine Yamal, who had a fantastic early chance saved by Martinez and center back Pau Cubarsí. They became the fourth and fifth teenagers to ever play in a World Cup final.
Right.
You have Messi, who was playing in World Cups before these kids were literally even born, sharing the same tactical chessboard. Plus, Spain's coach, Luis de la Fuente, he became the oldest World Cup winning coach at 65 years and 28 days.
Yeah, and the presence of 19-year-olds executing such a complex tactical system at the highest possible level, I think it really eliminates a crucial takeaway regarding Spain's unified developmental philosophy.
How so? Like the academy system.
Exactly. The Spanish Football Federation doesn't treat the national team as an all-star squad assembled every few months, you know? They treat it as the graduation ceremony of a 10-year curriculum.
Wow, that's a good way to look at it.
Right. From the under-15s all the way to the senior squad, these players are drilled in the exact same spatial awareness and passing principles.
So it's just muscle memory by the time they get there.
Totally. By the time Yamal or Cubarsí reach a World Cup final at 19, the cognitive load of the tactics is second nature. It allows them to play with the maturity of veterans.
I mean, just imagine being an Argentine defender for a moment.
Oh, brutal.
Your lungs are burning, your adrenaline is trying to mask the pain in your calves, you're tracking 19-year-olds who just never seem to tire out, and you are entirely starved of the ball for over 2 hours.
It really is psychological torture.
It is, and that collective brilliance, that systemic dominance, naturally paved the way for Spain to completely sweep the defensive and midfield awards for the tournament.
Yeah, when a team dictates the environment of the tournament so thoroughly, the hardware usually follows.
Unsurprisingly.
Right. Rodri was awarded the Golden Ball as the tournament's best player, which is, entirely fitting. In a system built on possession, the defensive midfielder is the central nervous system.
He dictates everything.
Exactly. He sets the tempo, decides when to recycle possession, and when to finally break the lines.
And then Unai Simon took home the Golden Glove, setting a new record with 7 clean sheets.
7.
Spain only conceded one single goal throughout the entire month-long tournament.
That's just an absurd defensive record.
It is. And Pau Cubarsí, the teenage center back we mentioned, naturally took home the Best Young Player award. And it's also worth noting a unique piece of history for you here. With this victory, Spain achieved the unprecedented feat of holding both the men's and women's World Cup titles simultaneously.
Which is just tangible proof of concept for that unified national footballing philosophy we just discussed.
Yeah, it really works.
It does. It transcends the individual players and roots itself in a deep systemic understanding of how the game should be played.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though.
Oh, yeah.
Because while Spain's systemic control won them all the team accolades and defensive honors, a French superstar completely ran away with the attacking hardware by relying on the exact opposite philosophy.
Pure, unadulterated chaos.
Exactly. We have to talk about Kylian Mbappe and the Golden Boot.
Right, because France was actually eliminated by Spain in the semifinals, but Mbappe put on an absolute clinic throughout the tournament, culminating in that wild third-place playoff match against England.
Oh man, that bronze medal match ended 6-4.
10 goals in a single game.
10 goals in a World Cup game. It's insane.
And Mbappe secured the Golden Boot with 10 goals and 4 assists over the course of the tournament. But more significantly, those 10 goals pushed his career World Cup total to 22.
22 goals.
Yeah, officially surpassing Messi to become the greatest goal scorer in the history of the Men's World Cup, and he is only 27 years old.
I mean, it sets up an incredible contrast in playing styles,
Yeah.
right? It's like a heavyweight prize fight.
Mm.
Messi spent this tournament relying on veteran efficiency, finding tiny pockets of space to finish with 8 goals.
Right.
Jude Bellingham made a massive push for England with 7 goals. But Mbappe operates differently. His sheer volume was like a video game on easy mode. When spatial constraints are removed and a game opens up into a track meet, his transition speed and biomechanical efficiency are just unmatched.
Oh, completely.
Fox Sports noted in their tactical coverage that the 6-4 game against England was basically the perfect case study in what happens when the fear of failure is just completely removed.
Yeah, and during the semifinals against Argentina, England's coach Thomas Tuchel was heavily criticized for deploying this really rigid defensive setup.
Right, he played it super safe.
He prioritized shape over attacking fluidity. But in a third-place match, with the crushing pressure of a potential final appearance gone, teams just tend to abandon defensive structure entirely.
The handbrakes come off.
Exactly. In a pure shootout where the midfield is bypassed, Mbappe thrives. I mean, his spatial awareness allows him to identify the exact moment a defender shifts their weight in the wrong direction, and his acceleration exploits that mistake instantly.
It offers a rather bittersweet lesson for England, honestly.
Yeah, they definitely had the firepower.
Clearly. They possessed the attacking talent to put 6 goals past a formidable French team, but they lacked the tactical courage to deploy that firepower when everything was actually on the line in the semifinal.
It's a tough pill to swallow for them.
For sure. Regardless, taking nothing away from Mbappe, 22 World Cup goals is sporting immortality. It firmly establishes the narrative heading toward 2030.
Absolutely. So we've established the grueling physical demands required to operate at this elite level, right?
Right.
The rhythm required for Rodri to dictate play, for Messi to find space, and for these athletes to push their cardiovascular systems to the absolute limit for 120 minutes.
Which brings us to the most surreal element of this final.
The halftime show.
Yes. What happens when you take that finely tuned athletic rhythm, put it in a freezer, and force these elite athletes to wait around for nearly half an hour in the middle of the most important game of their lives?
It's just wild to think about.
I am talking about the first ever Super Bowl-style World Cup halftime show.
A spectacle that honestly pushed the boundary between global entertainment and sporting integrity to its absolute breaking point.
And the scale of it was massive.
Yeah.
I mean, it was curated by Coldplay's Chris Martin and produced by Global Citizen, and the stated goal was to raise $100 million for global education.
Which is great, obviously.
Of course. And the lineup was this logistical behemoth featuring Madonna, Shakira, BTS, Justin Bieber, Burna Boy, and Gustavo Dudamel conducting an orchestra.
Just a massive production.
Huge. But the core issue wasn't the music, right? It was the clock. The show was planned for 11 minutes, but it ended up stretching over 27 minutes.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, we really have to look at the International Football Association Board, or IFAB.
The rule makers.
Right, they are the governing body that determines the laws of the game. And Law 7, which dictates the duration of the match, clearly and unambiguously states that players are entitled to an interval at halftime, and that interval must not exceed 15 minutes.
Not exceed 15 minutes.
Yes. This halftime show lasted exactly 27 minutes and 22 seconds.
Wow.
FIFA essentially sanctioned the breaking of the sport's own fundamental laws.
And the reaction from football purists was immediate and furious. I was reading a column by Miguel Delaney in The Independent, and he literally called it an anti-football abomination.
That's strong, but you understand why.
Yeah, his central argument was that FIFA deliberately disrupted the players' biological and tactical rhythm purely for commercialization and the quote-unquote Americanization of the sport.
Well, the physiological implications of this delay are severe, and it's a completely valid critique from sports scientists.
I mean, I have to ask you to weigh in on this because the physical and psychological toll this takes on athletes must be huge, right? Their bodies are primed for a 15-minute cool down, not a 30-minute pop concert.
It's a nightmare for them. Elite, modern football micromanages player physiology down to the minute. A standard 15-minute halftime is meticulously structured.
Right.
Players use the first few minutes to hydrate, replenish glycogen stores, and just allow their heart rates to settle. The remaining time is for tactical adjustments from the manager.
But the body expects to start moving again after 15 minutes.
Precisely. At the 15-minute mark, a player's core body temperature is still elevated, the synovial fluid in their joints is warm, and their central nervous system is still largely in a sympathetic fight-or-flight state.
They're ready to go.
Yes. But as you cross that 20-minute threshold, the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest state, starts taking over.
Well.
Vasoconstriction occurs as blood begins to leave the extremities, muscles cool down and stiffen, and lactic acid begins to pool.
That sounds dangerous.
It is. When you force an athlete whose body has started the recovery process to suddenly go back out and sprint against a 19-year-old Lamine Yamal, you drastically increase the risk of soft tissue injuries, particularly hamstring and groin tears.
Not to mention the immense psychological toll. Like, you're sitting in a locker room, your adrenaline is crashing, you are trying to visualize a defensive adjustment to stop one of the greatest possession teams in history. And you can literally feel a massive pop concert vibrating the concrete walls around you.
This raises an important question, though, regarding the future of the sport. What is the ultimate priority here?
Right.
Is it protecting the integrity and physical safety of the athletic competition, or is it maximizing the footprint of the global entertainment spectacle? Because FIFA's calculus here seems pretty clear. The immense financial revenue and cultural impact of that extended halftime show basically outweighed the physiological disruption to the players on the pitch.
Yeah, and it forces a hard look at where global football is heading. I mean, the television networks were undoubtedly thrilled.
Oh, they loved it.
Sponsors reach millions of casual viewers who might not even know the offside rule, but they tuned in specifically for BTS or Shakira.
Exactly.
But treating players who are running themselves into the ground for a World Cup title as if they are, like an opening act for a concert, it fundamentally alters the nature of the event.
It stands in stark contrast to the purity of the game we discussed at the very beginning of this deep dive. The 2026 World Cup is going to be etched in history just as much for this 27-minute pause as it is for Spain's tactical dominance or Mbappe's goal-scoring records.
Yeah. Let's step back and survey the entire landscape we've covered today.
It's been a lot.
It has. We unpack a tournament defined by Spain's flawless, suffocating positional play, a team that conceded only a single goal in a month and systematically squeezed the oxygen out of the defending champions.
We're an incredible team.
We witnessed Kylian Mbappe achieve individual immortality, surpassing Messi to stand alone atop the historical goal-scoring charts by thriving in the exact kind of open-field chaos that Spain tries to prevent.
The total opposite end of the spectrum.
Right. And we watched a halftime show that literally broke the governing laws of the sport.
It truly was a tournament defined by extremes. I mean, the extreme youth of Yamal and Cubarsí matched against the extreme veteran experience of Messi and De La Fuente.
Right.
The extreme tactical discipline required to execute Spain's system against the extreme chaos of a 10-goal bronze medal match. And finally, the extreme commercialization of the final against the raw, exhausting physiological reality of extra time.
So what does this all mean? Think about your own experience watching sports.
Yeah.
We're drawn to the drama, the tactical chess matches, the sheer athletic brilliance on display. But there is an invisible line where the show begins to interfere with the sport.
Definitely.
And that brings me to a final thought to leave you with. Given the staggering financial success and the viewership numbers generated by this 27-minute musical spectacle, has FIFA permanently opened Pandora's box?
I mean, once an organization sees the revenue generated by expanding the commercial window, it is incredibly rare for them to voluntarily shrink it back down to standard dimensions.
Exactly. If the governing body of the world's most popular sport is now willing to bend its most basic foundational laws of time to accommodate pop culture and commercial interests, where does that slippery slope end?
That's a great question.
Will we eventually see designated timeouts introduced into football? Will there be mandated commercial breaks during water stoppages? Will the continuous flow of the beautiful game eventually be chopped up into quarters just to sell more advertising space?
You have to wonder.
Once you compromise the clock, you inevitably compromise the game. Next time you watch a match and you see that jagged white line of the halfway mark on the pitch, ask yourself if the invisible lines governing the sport itself are starting to blur. We want to thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Keep exploring these sources, keep asking the hard questions about the sports you love, and we will catch you next time.